Increasingly, there is a generational divide in Canada. Young Canadians often feel like the opportunities that were available to generations before them just aren't there for them. Everything from job opportunities to housing to the ability to save for retirement. Joining us now to discuss how to best engage the next generation on all things financial is Brendan Caldwell, Director at Caldwell Securities Limited. Brendan, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Theresa. No one to ask like the old about how to fix the younger generation. So let's give it our best shot.
Now, many Canadians feel unprepared to begin their financial journeys as the Financial Literacy Month in November just finished up. We asked the question, which I think is important: how can people better prepare for the next or how can we better prepare the next generation?
Well, I think the next generation needs to realize that they have something better than money at the moment. They have time. And if you don't think that's true, it's because you take time for granted. Because, in theory, you have almost an infinite amount of it. You have more in front of you than you do behind you. Not the case with the Gen Xers, and certainly not the baby boomers. I think at least beginning with the conversation. I have a job largely because most people are just half-remembered arguments that their parents had about money. I think most parents, certainly historically, are more likely to talk to their kids about sex than they are about money. So that even before this current generation, there was a tremendous fear akin to going to the dentist, to even talking about money. I mean, people would rather have a root canal than talk about their money. So I have a job because I can help make that conversation easier for people. But I think there are ways that one can begin to broach the topic that shouldn't be too painful.
Now, talking about money is pretty uncomfortable for most people, but I'm curious, why is it so important to start that conversation about money early?
Again, we imprint on our parents, and somehow we want them to be right, whether they were or not. Even if we swear that we're never going to be like those people, whatever they were like or whatever we imagine they were like. So what I have found helpful is starting with a book, particularly because in my industry, I've seen so many people make top 1% incomes for decades, half a century or more, and have nothing at the end of it. The single best book that I've found helpful is Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. And it's an easy read, take you an evening, 4 hours maybe from end to end. And it's like The Wealthy Barber, in that it's written like a story with illustrations that make it relatable. It's a little American-centric, so that some of these specific examples aren't necessarily Canadian. But it is enough to get the conversation going, to get the wheels turning, that there are possibilities. See, the thing about the baby boomers and Gen X is that even if they didn't plan, they were lucky. They were in the right place at the right time. And because the population boomed and so many new Canadians came to the country, that the price of their houses went up. So even if they didn't do anything more than just buy a house somewhere that somebody else wanted it, here in Canada, Vancouver, Toronto, they did very well, if only by accident. Millennials, Gen Z, Gen Alpha will need to be a little more intentional about it, which is fine. They just actually need to do it because there will still continue to be opportunities. They just need to think about that. And that book is a very good conversation starter.
And how can we make financial literacy more accessible to young people?
Well, what we've tried to do is a seminar. They've been around, financial seminars have been around since forever. Often they're about to try and sell a specific product. What we try and do is talk about concepts, whether they're saving for retirement or estate planning or what have you. Just do the things, read the books, go to the seminars to get one's literacy a little higher. If there was a single thing that young people could do to make their world better, is just to set aside a little bit of money every month. If $50, $100, $500, whatever you slightly can't afford, so that you're building up some savings. But I have debt, I have this debt, I have that debt, I have the other debt. Debts you will always have with you. The thing is, if you have some money set aside from the debt that is hopefully growing more than the interest rate, you will be able to And particularly if you're dollar cost averaging your way into that investment, it means you have some reserves. So whether or not you have debt, having some money set on the side that's growing, that's liquid, will give you a much greater peace of mind and able to help you make better decisions, that you're not looking just at the debt. You can also look at the other side of the balance sheet, the other side of the ledger, and see you've got some assets to offset that.
Brendan, thank you so much.
Thank you, Theresa.